Speaking of dogs, we have a good first question today.
We do actually, and I completely missed the fed to me transition. So
It's okay. It's okay.
clearly I could use a nap as well. Our first question this week is titled "Who Let the Dogs Out?" Hello, thank you for all your wonderful etiquette advice throughout the years. I have a dilemma that I am not even sure where to start about. My husband and I live in a suburban community. One of our neighbors has a yellow lab that is a bit of an escape artist. Their yard is fenced in, but we frequently, about once a week, see their dog out wandering the neighborhood alone. We have tried to help the owners catch the dog on multiple occasions, but he will not come when called. We have a corgi, and our backyard is not fenced in. Every day we take our dog into our yard to go play. He is good about staying on our property. While he is a friendly dog and attends doggy daycare, he is reactive and will bark when he is excited or anxious. This past weekend, my husband was playing with our dog in our backyard when all of a sudden the neighbor's lab comes running into our yard. Our dog starts hysterically barking, and the lab starts reacting in kind. I see what is happening and run outside to chase the other dog off our property, while my husband is trying to grab our dog and usher him inside. Thankfully, no people or dogs were bit. I am a bit shaken up over the ordeal. The adult owners were nowhere in sight when this happened. Their children, about ages 5 and 8, were the ones trying to get their dog. While their dog has not shown any signs of aggression that we know of, I still feel uneasy taking my dog in our backyard or on a walk for fear of never knowing if their dog will just show up out of nowhere. Is this something that I should talk to them about? They are aware that their dog roams the neighborhood a lot, but I haven't seen or heard of them trying to do something to make sure the dog stops escaping. A sample script would be greatly appreciated. Should a conversation be the best course of action? Thank you for your help. Dog on the run.
Dog on the run. This is a really tough one. And it's a tough one because it seems like your neighbors are aware that their dog is out and roaming the neighborhood. And it's hard because you can't tell them things like you have to build a fence or you can't have your dog out roaming the neighborhood. I am pretty sure that most towns have laws against dogs roaming neighborhoods in such a way. Leash laws are a thing, and while I would avoid adding that to my sample script, I think that it's common knowledge that in neighborhoods, this is unacceptable behavior for dog people who are responsible for dogs, I'll say. I know that when I have seen a neighbor's dog running in the neighborhood, it is never a good thing. It is always because the dog has escaped and trying to chase that dog down so that it doesn't, frankly, get hurt in traffic is my biggest concern. And that is a real concern. It's always my fear when Sonny would get out on me before he was trained to stay away from the road, was that he would just and even now still a fear because he will just chase a squirrel straight across the street. He's not thinking about how that's going to impact his world if he gets hit by a car. He doesn't really know that the street's unsafe. He's chasing the squirrel. That was actually a little bit what I was scared of when you said your husband chased the dog off, was that, oh, shoot, yes, nobody got bit, but also thank goodness the dog didn't get chased into traffic. I do think it's okay for you to have a conversation with your neighbor, especially because the dog came onto your property, and say, hey, this is really concerning for us. We know that you have been letting your dog roam the neighborhood, that's something you like, it seems that you're comfortable with, and if you're not, good to know that you're not. But we are really concerned about it. It's concerning from a traffic standpoint of the dog getting hurt by a car or chasing itself into the road, chasing itself, getting chased into the road. Um, but it's also a concern when the dog comes into our backyard and is impacting our enjoyment of our yard and our ability to have our dog in our yard. On the one hand, as the homeowner, you do have the option of putting up a fence. It might not be what you want to do, but you can't control their actions. You can control your actions. So if they don't change, I feel like, Dan, that might be a course down the road that you'll have to deal with. But I think the fact that the dog came onto your property gives you that chance to go talk with them about how concerned you are about it, about how impactful it is when it happens, that the dogs are barking at each other. You're worried they will get into a scrap with one another or just start creating a dynamic. Or when you're out walking your dog on a leash and their dog unleashed comes up, there's no way for you to control that situation. And that puts you at unease in a place where, you should feel confident being able to walk your dog through your neighborhood. Those would be the approaches I would take with the neighbors, short of escalating it to calling animal control, because it is a problem. And I think that's not the first place you want to go. I think that's like a last resort type place to go.
I agree, Lizzie. I look at this problem and I think of it in similar terms. And like you, I acknowledge that it's complicated. These are neighbor relations and with this third party dog. And so it's not exactly direct neighbor to neighbor, but it's neighbor to neighbor through dog. And like you, I outline for myself this two extremes, the options that are completely under your control that are different approaches. And one is build a fence, secure that backyard yourself. That's one version of maintaining control. Another version of maintaining control is call animal protection. This is an unleashed dog on your property, and that is a course of action for you to take. Whether towns have leash laws or not, some do, many do. Almost every town has some version of animal control or dog catcher or somebody that you can call if there's an animal on your property that's not yours that you need help with. And that's really tough for the owner of that animal. So, in many ways, for me, that conversation lives in that place of good neighborly relations. You
Hmm.
making an effort, doing things that are a little beyond your control, reaching outside of that comfort that control gives you to interact with someone else about what is a problem for you. And that is in some ways difficult and in other ways I think really generous because it gives the neighbors an opportunity to understand how it's impacting you and to participate in the solution. In terms of the nature of that conversation, there are a couple of things that I would keep in mind. One is I would keep it informational, that you're
Hmm.
letting people know. You want them to have the full information about what happened and how it impacted you. And I don't think you need to exaggerate or dramatize or overdo the emotions, but letting someone know that their
Traumatized.
dog is loose in your backyard, that its behavior was unsettling, that you didn't know what to do, that it was a moment of I won't call it emergency or excitement, but that people were springing into action and running around and dogs are barking and it didn't feel good and it's left you feeling uncomfortable and uncertain about how to even use your own backyard. And that is something that if I was a neighbor and a dog owner, I would really want to know because I wouldn't want someone operating thinking I could call animal control to take care of this. And
Hmm.
I would want to know that there was a problem that could result in that was happening because it would make me as a dog owner want to take more responsibility for that dog. I think it gets trickier when you start trying to direct how they would do that. I would
Yeah, no, it
really
doesn't
put a
work.
parameter around the conversation for yourself that's informational. I want to let you know what's happening and how it impacted me because as a neighbor, that's what I would want to know. The
Hmm.
final thing I would say about that conversation is make your good intentions explicit. You care about dogs, you like good neighborly relations. You don't necessarily want 9 foot fences that are impenetrable between your houses, if that's the case. Um,
Yeah.
and give them an opportunity to hear that and figure out what their response is. But that's how I would think about that conversation, how I would think about approaching it.
I think that's a really good start to the conversation, is laying out the goodwill intention of how you want everyone to feel comfortable and safe and able to enjoy their experience of the neighborhood. Dan, it's so hard when there are beloved pets. And it's so hard when our beloved pets aren't behaving in a way that works for the people around us. I want to reiterate that to Dog on the Run and say that we certainly hope our answer helps. Do let us know how the situation progresses, and our fingers are crossed that this conversation allows you to get the relief you need to be able to enjoy the neighborhood and your backyard as best you would like. Thank you so much for the question.
We hope our answer helps. Take good care.